A near miss, the moon almost became a battleground. Imagine a world where the serene, cratered surface of the moon was marred by the scars of war. This was almost our reality. In 1969, the United States tried to nuke the moon. Yes, you heard that right. The plan was to demonstrate power and technological superiority. They almost pulled it off. The Cold War was at its peak. The world was divided into two hostile camps, each armed to the teeth with nuclear weapons. Tensions were high. The space race was more than a competition. It was a fight for survival. The stakes were astronomical, quite literally. Both the United States and the Soviet Union saw space as the ultimate high ground. Whoever controlled space controlled the future of humanity. The nation that controlled the moon, they believed, would control the future. It was a race to claim the ultimate strategic advantage. This is the story of Operation Firelight. A mission so secretive it was hidden from the public eye for decades. It was a top-secret mission, buried deep within the annals of the Pentagon. Only a handful of people knew about it. A mission so audacious, so daring, that it could have rewritten history. The moon, a symbol of peace and exploration, almost became a theater of war. The Cold War, a race to space and beyond. The world watched in awe as Sputnik, the first artificial satellite, orbited the Earth. The Soviets had struck first in the space race. The United States was caught off guard. It was a technological and ideological blow. The stakes were higher than ever. The United States poured resources into its space program, determined to catch up. The ultimate prize was the moon. Landing a man on the lunar surface would be a propaganda victory. It would demonstrate technological superiority. Operation Firelight, a daring and dangerous plan shrouded in secrecy and ambition. Operation Firelight was born out of fear and desperation, a product of the intense rivalry between superpowers. The United States feared the Soviets might gain a strategic advantage in space, a domain that was becoming the new battleground. They considered a radical plan: detonate a nuclear weapon on the moon, a move that would forever alter the course of history. It seemed unthinkable. Yet, the idea gained traction within certain circles of the government, driven by the desire to demonstrate power. Proponents argued that a lunar nuclear test would send a clear message to the Soviets, showcasing American technological prowess. It would showcase American might, a bold statement of dominance in the space race. The plan was highly classified. Only a select few knew the true nature of the mission, keeping it hidden from the public eye. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, developing detailed schematics and models to ensure the plan's success. The stakes were incredibly high. Failure was not an option, as it would mean a significant setback in the Cold War. Operation Firelight was a testament to the lengths nations would go to secure their place in the annals of history. Reaching for the moon, the logistics of nuclear transport. Getting a nuclear device to the moon was a logistical nightmare. It required a powerful rocket. It required a sophisticated guidance system. It required absolute secrecy. The scientists and engineers worked tirelessly. They modified existing rocket designs. They developed new technologies to ensure the device could withstand the journey. Every step was fraught with risk. A single mistake could have catastrophic consequences. Fire in the sky. The intended consequences of detonation. The intended effects of the detonation were twofold. First, it would be a show of force. The mushroom cloud, visible from Earth, would serve as a stark reminder of American nuclear capabilities. Second, the United States hoped to gather valuable scientific data. They wanted to study the effects of a nuclear explosion in a vacuum. They wanted to learn more about the composition of the moon. The fallout, why Operation Firelight never happened. Operation Firelight, however audacious, never came to fruition. The risks, both political and practical, were deemed too great. There were concerns about international condemnation. There were fears of an escalation in the Cold War. There were worries about the long-term effects of nuclear fallout. In the end, cooler heads prevailed. The mission was scrapped. The details of Operation Firelight remained buried for decades. A speculative history. Operation Firelight and the what-ifs. Operation Firelight is a chilling reminder of the Cold War's perilous precipice. Conceived in the shadow of nuclear dread, it was a plan that never saw the light of day. Yet its implications still haunt us. It is a fictional scenario, a what-if that never materialized, but the very fact that such a plan was even considered speaks volumes about the era's mindset. But it highlights the very real anxieties of the time, the fear of mutual destruction, the race for technological supremacy, and the constant threat of an all-out nuclear war. It underscores the dangers of unchecked ambition and the seductive allure of technological dominance. The idea that one nation could assert its power by placing nuclear weapons on the moon was both terrifying and fascinating. It begs the question, what if? What if the world had taken a different path? What if the moon had become a battleground for superpowers? What if the United States had followed through with Operation Firelight? The consequences could have been catastrophic, altering the course of history in unimaginable ways. How would it have impacted the space race? Would it have escalated tensions further, or perhaps even led to a different kind of space exploration? How would it have shaped our world? The geopolitical landscape, the balance of power, and the very nature of international relations could have been drastically different. These questions linger, a reminder of the fragility of peace and the enduring power of fear. They serve as a stark warning of the paths we choose and the shadows of the decisions we make.